Hey guys, this is Yaya from Two Girls, One Buck podcast, and I'm here to talk to you about one of the main reasons why three idiots were able to even start a podcast in the beginning. It's Anchor.fm. If you hadn't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. For one, it's free. That's right. $0 to get your content out on all major platforms. They're creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. That's extremely important for some of us who are just getting started and don't want to spend a lot of money on crazy, intricate programs and equipment. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's right. Just start talking about Anchor.fm like I'm doing, and hopefully they put coins in your pocket. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Again, that's Anchor app, ANCHOR, or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear what you guys come out with. Bye.
Like a strong drink after a long day, like a good wine, but not rosé. Like a quick fuck, and that's okay. We're three friends, we got shit to say. We're three friends doing it our way. We're two girls, one boy. You're not my mom. You are not my mom. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Two Girls, One Buck. Classically trained singer, actor, magician, classically trained in the artistry of illusions.
Oh my god.
I can do card tricks and scam people.
Very useful.
If you're an older white woman from Minnesota on the Vegas Strip, you better watch out. So, welcome back, everybody. How was everyone's weekend? Me and Yaya spent most of our weekend together.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Busy.
Yes,
Busy
we did.
little bees.
Yeah, Friday, all three of us worked in the studio for some good things with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, me and Ty went to our first pool party of the summer.
2022.
And now the things are opening back up again. So that was...
Oh, it's not 2022.
It was more of like an... Oh, you really thought it was 2023?
I said it.
Flash
Okay.
forward. We lost another year.
Shit, right?
After you turn 13, honestly, the years just go by.
For me, it was when I hit 21. Everything.
Nothing much more to look forward to.
I felt like at that point, like all the days blended together. It could be because I started becoming an alcoholic at that age, so that's
That does
probably
make
why.
all the
kinda
days blend
late.
together.
I did start late. I was always a pothead. I wasn't. I didn't go into the cool side of the substances until.
Of course. Obviously, everybody knows that.
So this is our 4th episode of Two Girls, One Buck. I am Yaya.
I'm Ty.
I'm Cece.
And we are so thankful that you guys are still listening. That's awesome.
We are coming at you with aggression this week. Physical and verbal.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, stinky little pigs.
Well, this is your week, Ty.
So this is my week, everybody. And this topic the topic we're going to talk about this week is very controversial.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
I'm sorry.
You just have a stroke?
I said fully stroked it. The controversial. One of those
Do you
classics like...
smell toast?
What? There's not toast? I don't even have a toaster. It's one of those classic, I know what the word is, but it did not... Controversial. Thank you, Cece. Controversial, correct. Coming in with the pronunciation. I love it. So this week we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. A drum roll, please. Buttholes. No.
Buttholes.
Buttholes.
Testicles.
The lottery.
That's my favorite subject.
Winning the lottery and telling people how you will disappear. That's how you know. The minute I stop responding to everybody, I won the lottery. I'm out.
You're out.
You better not just not tell nobody.
I disappear. I've seen
I'll be
plenty
your
of the
personal
lottery
assistant.
ruin my life to know that I gotta disappear.
Oh my god. Will you just like stop showing up to work?
That's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like what?
The
What
number
happened
one
to Ty? He out.
Yeah.
Finally, he retired.
Absolutely. Your voicemail is like, don't call my phone
Yeah.
no more. I'm
Shut
rich.
up. If you are calling me, shut up right now. Hang that phone up. Don't leave a message. I hate you. So this week's topic is one of my favorites. Political correctness. And I bet it's one that's very contentious. I spat that one out, didn't I?
I don't know what contentious means.
Like, what's the best way to explain this? Contentious is like something or a topic that is widely disagreed on.
Oh, okay, so it's controversial.
Yeah, very.
Okay, like my pussy.
Yeah, but I'd say contentious is like a step above controversial.
Argumentative is
yeah.
a synonym. Quarrelsome.
I don't
Of
know
course,
what
quarrelsome.
Quarrel.
And I know
Oh, like the
that-
Q.
A
Not like...
quarrel is an argument.
Right, with the
Quarrelsome.
Q.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you said coral, like the ocean.
That's what I thought she was saying. I was like,
It
that's
is.
a whole other word.
We
I don't
gotta
know.
save these reefs, y'all.
Quarrelsome.
We do gotta save these. CC, I know that's your topics. But yeah, political correctness. It's something that I have always really enjoyed, mostly because...
You're recording on your Apple Watch.
No, it's just nice to like send out text messages for me that I...
Oh,
of
no.
random conversations.
Oh, no.
I have
That's
with
a
myself.
scary
Well, it's broken and I'm
feature.
poor. Yeah, so political correctness has always been a topic that I found really interesting because I fall on the side of, I wouldn't say actively not being politically correct, but
I mean, you do try to be like as non-political.
I don't think that I
correct
try to be as much as I just don't care.
as- Right.
Like if I think that it is funny, and this may be my true stance on it. I think if it's funny and its intention is not with malice, then it's free game.
So, like, why don't you tell like the listeners who don't know what political correctness means? Like, what's the definition?
Well, I think that's really interesting because I think that a lot of people don't understand where political correctness actually came from. Political correctness was actually stolen from one of the like greatest dictators in modern history, Mao
Hitler.
Zedong. Mao Zedong. Actually, Hitler wrote Mein Kampf strongly based after what was Mao Zedong had the Little Red Book.
Who's Mao Zedong?
Mao Zedong was a Chinese dictator a little bit before Hitler. But
I thought all Chinese leaders were dictators.
well, they eventually become them, but that's not politically correct.
I thought they were
He
under
was the
dictatorship.
greatest of
Yeah,
them
he
all.
was the greatest one. Like the estimates of his kill count are anywhere from 50 to 100 million. Of
Damn.
people died because of the things that he did. Like he genuinely starved his own people.
And there's still a lot of them left.
Yeah, and his rise to power was a lot like how he.
You said there's still a lot of
There's still a lot of Chinese left. He didn't put a dent in nothing.
There are multiple countries in Asia.
But you said Chinese, right?
Yeah, but the continent. Yeah, I think Chinese is still like what 1.4 billion people.
Yeah.
It's like almost
You said he starved his own
quadruple.
people. Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of his policies, like his whole policy of like how he gained power was based off of political correctness and the power that it has to subjugate people and like push people out of the in group. So, like, a lot of his writings were about using political correctness to gain power because it's the easiest way to shut up dissenters, basically.
So, like, if you're against the politics, then you're not being politically correct?
Yeah, that's what he eventually turned it into, was using political correctness in, like, in his political forum to basically silence dissenters.
Oh.
So that, like, nobody could really have an ill opinion towards him.
Right.
Because it
So
wasn't
that's where
politically
it started, like, you're not being politically correct
Yeah, it
by
wasn't-
saying that
yeah.
I'm hungry and this man won't feed
Exactly.
us.
It wasn't what it is today.
Right.
It's evolved, but it's evolved from that basic idea, and that was a lot of
adulterated the target.
yeah.
What?
That was a lot of
Because, like, now, political correctness means, like, you don't say, like, things that are taboo. Or, like, what, like, you wouldn't just, like, call someone a fag, right? That's not politically correct. You would say...
that just depends. I mean, and that's the funny
homosexual.
thing about it is that it's hard to be politically correct because
It's kinda
to
relative.
certain it's there's no way that this is the best argument that I've ever heard. There's no way that I can be politically correct because it doesn't matter what I say to someone, it will be offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I think like millennials have really taken political correctness to the head because we've all seen TV shows and movies back in the 80s and shit where it was like the way to do humor was to be crude and not politically correct and like making fun of races and people's disabilities, and like I think that was something that is needed in society now. And millennials, the fucking kombucha drinkers, fucked it for everybody.
What is needed? Non-political correctness?
Correct. No pun intended. Yeah, I think like it is necessary for human development to have freedom of speech.
I mean, when it comes down to it, I think that a lot of what's happened is it's mutated into something that it wasn't originally. Like there's a difference between being politically correct and being like mutually respectful of somebody.
Right.
You know, like you can have respect for somebody and say something insensitive. But I don't think that if your intention wasn't disrespect, that it shouldn't be taken that way. And you know, when it comes to offense, it's taken, not given.
Yeah, I mean, so like for example, I can say like, you know, I respect that Donald Trump was our president, but he's a dumb fuck.
Yeah, that's your opinion. That may piss people off. That may piss some people off, but also it doesn't change the fact that that's your opinion.
Right.
That when it comes to anything that's opinion based or based off feelings or emotion, it's strictly subjective. It's not. You can't macro that out into an objective idea. You can't
and
say.
So even use the term correct for it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
judging that.
Yeah, and then just take into terms like, I mean, political correctness is used in a lot of blanketed statements about certain groups or different people that groups everybody together, and I think there is no benefit for individualism in a group when you group people up like that. Like there's plenty of things. Me personally, because almost nothing offends me. I think everything's funny if you have good timing. That
it is all about good timing.
It is all about good timing. I always say my saying is if one person laughed, then it was funny.
Right. and even if that one person was you.
Yeah, and it's always me. You know what they say?
Guaranteed.
You're your own.
One person was laughing, which I was. Then it's fine.
You're your own biggest critic, and I think I'm hilarious.
I do too. I think you're hilarious.
But you know, I think that it's important to make light of things. To make them less like if everyone's so afraid to talk about stuff, it's so afraid to talk about things because they're gonna get shouted down.
Oprah.
I blame Oprah. Sorry, Oprah. Love you, girl, but I blame you for this new wave of political correctness.
Well, this actually kind of brings us into the second segment of this show.
Oh, are we moving a little too ahead?
Yeah. Well, this actually kind of brings up the idea where it's become more popular in modern day society, and that is upper education.
I'm sorry, not to be distracting, but do you have glitter on your face?
Potentially.
I know we went to a pool party last night, but I keep seeing like a little reflection.
I'm just sparkling and glowing.
This is your time.
I'm not pregnant because I did get my tubes tied.
I was there for that.
Yes, she was. She held the tubes for the doctor. It was in Mexico. He's like, okay, do you know how to do a double knot?
Sorry. Okay, so you're talking about higher education?
So higher education, because I think that's where, when it comes to political correctness in modern day society, it's really it's facilitated, it's concentrated, and as somebody who truly doesn't lean really either left or right in most ways, I think I pull ideas from both sides when it comes to that, and I really value individualism. I really value the individual person, not a group as a whole, because a group as a whole has no value. You know, each person has their own inherent value, and you have to assess that. But when it comes to, especially because I was a sociology major, so I was in it. You know, every conversation, every book, everything I read was something about, you know, when it comes to sociology, it is very political correctness oriented. And I think the issue with that, and actually, funny story, almost certain that I got a teacher fired over my senior seminar paper about The Evils of Political Correctness in Higher Education.
That was exactly what the paper was
That
about?
was the name of my paper, The Evils of Political Correctness in Higher Education. Because, and it was a 22-page paper. It's my senior seminar, which is like you do a full research project.
Where can we find it? Is it on Reddit?
I think it's saved in one of my old laptops.
It's like on the dark web.
Well, it's 22 pages, everything cited. I think I had 42 sources. Wow. It was a big paper because it was like our big one.
God, I hate writing papers.
That's all I did.
Yeah,
but that was my whole
college experience.
My whole college experience kind of accumulated in me doing this paper based off all the other classes I took with doing research and all of that and talking about it. And it was it's sociology, so everything's an opinion piece. Everything's a hypothesis because you can't really test. I mean, you can to a certain extent.
Not ethically.
Exactly. So he was not a fan of my paper, which would be fine. The teacher was upset because he gave me a poor grade and said that it was too opinion oriented. And I responded to that email with, well, of course it is. It's my opinion on it. But I have 40 sources that are backing the opinion that I've already developed, which is literally every paper.
What was your stance?
That political correctness in upper education has actually pushed us further away from advancement in all fields. Because the entire...
It causes people to be afraid, basically.
Yeah, the entire idea behind college is that you're supposed to have discourse, which is supposed to force real cognitive thought. And what a lot of colleges have become are just echo chambers for everybody. We all believe the same thing. You know what I mean? And that's fine. And then when there are dissenters, you're almost pushed out of it, even by the faculty. Like in my case, where my paper was just talking about that the issue with political correctness in college is that it doesn't facilitate
free thought.
Yeah, at all. That free thoughts you just completely avoid. You cannot get somebody's
walking on eggshells.
Exactly. Everybody's concern is that they're going to offend somebody, and the reality is that you are going to offend somebody. That you can't avoid it. The only thing that you can control is intention.
Isn't that what political correctness is, though? You're taking something and you have the intention of presenting it without offending anybody? Like you're intending to not be offensive?
Well, I think it's avoiding things that could be considered offensive.
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't think being political correct is avoiding it. I think they're just using different words.
Well, when you say something, if you're actively practicing political correctness, then you're not saying anything that could be considered offensive.
Got it.
So if you're being politically correct, you're not.
See, I thought it was like instead of saying like someone's retarded, that they're like special needs or
I think it's handicapable
or whatever the hell it is. But you're still describing the same thing, someone that's retarded. So it's like.
And if you break it down, when something's retarded, it just means it's slow
suppressed,
or suppressed.
Right, but that word is considered bad. Like don't say retard.
You can't say that.
But handicap still hits the same point.
Well, I think that's why they switched it to handicapable. I think that's the term you're supposed to use, which is the
I guess that's a form of
that we're avoiding the actualities of reality in hopes to not offend somebody.
I mean, I'm just going to say this right now. Anyone listening to this podcast, if you are easily offended, please get off right now because
it will continue.
Yeah, we're just peaking. This is just going to get a little bit more icky, and I think that's why it's great that you brought this topic up because it is something that is immersed in every fucking industry and every fucking conversation and media. Everything is now, let's make everyone or as many people as possible comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's just not how you survive.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that people are not going to be equal, and separating them into groups is not going to make them more equal.
Right.
You know what I mean? The idea is that I am individually going to have better traits than CC. And CC is individually going to have better traits than me in certain things.
And Yaya's going to have better traits than me.
And Yaya will have her own better traits as well. But the reality is that we can all be good at different things, but not be equal. You're not going to be able to do this as good as I am. because I'm better at it. And that's fine, because you're better at another thing. Not everybody holds the same level on everything that they do, and it's fine to understand that, and I think it's important for individuals to realize that. But if you group everybody together and say, well, all of these people can't do this, that's not true. There are absolutely people that can do that.
But how is that? Because I feel like you're talking about just making generalizations. So how is that related?
Well, I
to
think
PC
that's what a lot
culture?
of political correctness is. It's generalizations. Like we aren't going to say any of these statements because certain people in this group could be offended by it. We don't know which ones they are. So as a whole, when we're around that group or like in general speaking about that group, we aren't going to mention these things that could potentially offend somebody.
I do understand what you're saying. Like, the PC culture is not necessarily just about language, but it's also like giving out participation awards because you don't want to hurt their feelings because they suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. There can't be winners or losers because it hurt your feelings, but the reality is newsflash.
There are winners and losers.
From 3 people that have been through it.
Ain't nobody gave me no damn participation
Yeah,
awards.
from people that have been through it. It doesn't get easier, and pretending that it doesn't exist isn't going to change it.
That's not helping children.
It's not helping anybody.
Into competent
I blame
adults.
the damn millennials, I tell you what. So you blame higher
Well,
education.
you also blamed Oprah, so I'm still waiting for that.
I do blame Oprah.
Was
Did
it
I
the
say?
millennials or was it Oprah? I'm confused.
I say Oprah because it kind of like piggybacked off what he was saying about like the higher education, like the people, like Oprah was very well known from in the 90s of sugarcoating or easing the blow for hard topics, from abuse to celebrity affairs or whatever the hell she talked about. I forgot, it's been some years. But one thing I recognized that she did was that she was very big on, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't approach it that way. You should, like, for example, Jerry Springer was the complete opposite of PC.
Right.
He encouraged...
Still is.
Is he still?
I think that show's still on
he's still doing
TV.
his thing, yeah.
Him and Judge Judy.
So, he
Allow me some
was
Judy,
the complete
baby.
opposite from the PC culture. Like, he pushed the boundaries of exhibiting people that were fucked up in the head, or were the cheaters, were the transgenders, were like, where Oprah, I felt like, tried to...
Shit, I think they called them transvestites on the show.
They did, yeah, I remember that. Is this a woman?
Yeah. And I think that it's important to have respect for people, but I also don't have to blindly follow your own beliefs. I mean, you know, there are people like, I don't want to call her a he. It doesn't bother me. If you want, I don't care what you want to be called. It's the point that you try and make me say it that I have an issue with.
So
And like going back
Jerry
to...
Springer ended in 2008
Aww.
after 27 seasons and more than 4,000 episodes.
And that's when real TV died. So like
Bring
for me,
Jerry back.
For me, I feel like with Oprah, she started a trove of housewives that were trying to push their opinion on shit because Oprah said so, and not really knowing if that is the complete and thorough way to have a perspective on something. Now, mind you, the woman's fabulous. I wanted to be Oprah my whole entire childhood.
Yeah, I watched her every day.
Yeah, like we said, people can have
But I feel
good
like
and
she
bad.
did create PC culture for sure.
I think she definitely facilitated it.
Or there was a big hand in PC culture for sure. Because her talk show was all about protecting the guest and protecting that ideology and, you know, not exploiting them in a sense, where my only other example is like Maury. Like DNA tests. Like, I fucked my sister's dad and now I'm 14 with
But
a
I feel
baby.
like the topic
14
matters
towers.
much different between those shows. I don't know if that
Yeah.
is going
Yeah,
on
I
half
think
of
the topic
conversation
matter
before.
was different. I think Jerry Springer took advantage of garbage people and facilitated that. But when it comes
Okay,
down
let's say
to
Dr. Phil then.
Yeah, Dr. Phil is terrible. He's awful. He's not even a real doctor. He doesn't have a PhD in psychology. Just FYI.
Yeah. I don't know how.
But honestly, give me $200 million. I'll do that too. You're crazy, okay? You're a crazy girl, and we're gonna send you to boot camp. That's my impression of every episode.
That was actually pretty good.
That's my Dr. Phil.
Okay.
Okay, and this is not okay for you to talk to your mama like that. Okay, Dr. Phil, wow. You're a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, so I get where you're going to, where the higher education, you know, because we're trying to get into this we're trying to please everybody, right? Like we're trying to acknowledge wronged past, and we're trying to be better people and move forward, so that we don't continue to hurt those people like we did in the past. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it can be a crippling effect to free thought.
Well, I think the idea that people are so afraid of hearing something that they don't like, that they're willing to shut other people up about it is nuts. I mean, my own personal experience, and I'm sure you guys both have your own personal experiences being a gay person. I've heard people say the nastiest shit to me that I've ever heard in my entire life.
Right.
And it never bothered me.
Yeah.
Well, don't we also though have to get, like, not everyone is.
I mean, I
as
don't
strong
love
as
it.
you.
I didn't love it.
Right.
You know?
No, but not everyone is mentally as strong as you. So isn't it our duty as humans is to try to protect them as well?
But I think that is the intention. But I think that when it comes down to it, it's an impossible task.
Right.
Yeah,
it's an impossible task. The only thing that you can learn is to realize for yourself that if it's somebody that you don't know, it doesn't really matter what they think. That's my thought process on everything. Yeah. If it's somebody that I don't know, if it's a stranger yelling faggot at me out the window, didn't ruin my day, made his day better, good for him. I don't know. I can't imagine.
I mean, you're better than me. If someone like yelled some very derogatory thing to me, I don't know.
I mean, I'll give that to my mom. My mom's always been that way. If you know anything about old K Dog, K Dog, I'm sure she's listening to this, but truly one of the most I don't give a shit people I've ever met in my entire life. Never gave a fuck about anything. She does the weirdest shit, and it's all cool.
That's my mom too.
Yeah, she does the weird. She does like the weirdest shit in the sense like she does her own thing. She's lived her own life, followed her own path, does what she wants to do, and has never really given a shit what anybody else
says what she wants.
Says what she wants, and she's funny.
What did she say to me? She's like, "Get your old
moth pussy.
Get your moth pussy out of my face." Moth pussy. And that was out of love. That was purely out of love.
Yeah, you understood. There was no malice behind it. I think people don't put it. People don't put enough. People don't like even when it's a stranger and there is malice. That's their own problem, and I guarantee you.
It's probably bothering them more than it's bothering
yeah, the guy just wanted to touch my butt, and I understand that.
So, do you think the world would be a better place if there was no PC culture whatsoever, or do you think we need to like observe PC culture and give it more responsibility?
I think that, in general, when it comes to interacting with other people, there should be a base level of respect.
Right.
You know, disagree or agree. I also don't think that you should be afraid to ask somebody that comes from a different viewpoint question or make your opinion known on something in fear of being shouted down for it. I don't think that if I don't understand something about being black, you know, that if I were to ask you and it may be something that could be offensive, that then I just never get to know it. Because my fear of hurting your feelings with a genuine question would hold me back from asking.
It's honesty and feeling comfortable talking about hard topics with people.
And look, for me, like being African American.
Wait, what?
I know, right?
Oh my gosh, I just thought the lights were bad. I thought you were my shadow.
Shut up. Being black and being raised in majority white neighborhoods or hanging out with a majority of white people, I constantly felt like I was like the black ambassador. Like anybody had any type of question about anything with black culture, they came to me. And I think A, was because I was the only black person they knew, but B, I was also, they weren't afraid to ask me because I made it very clear that I want you to ask me these questions so that we can have that open forum.
And I genuinely went through that same experience with my group of friends. A lot of my friends are straight dudes.
Right.
And just like all of my friends in general, like for the most part where I grew up, there wasn't like a lot of gay people. So, you know, for a lot of people that I know I'm friends with, even to this day, I was like, I'm their first interaction or like real friendship with a person that's gay.
Right.
Not you guys, but like.
Right.
But and there are a lot of questions that people like are genuinely curious about,
right.
like
all the time. About my hair.
That sexually, a lot of things, and it doesn't bother me because I don't think they're trying to like be rude or hurt my feelings, but they're genuine questions, and as you open up and they realize, hey, maybe that was a dumb thought, and maybe you're just a normal person,
right?
But that's the only way you get to that point,
right?
If they're avoiding it at all costs. Exactly. They're going to make up their mind on something or just continue to remain ignorant, and I don't think that's any better than not hurting my feelings once or twice.
So we need to have like a happy medium, basically. We should.
Well, I think that there should be respect, and I think that you're going to run into outliers. Obviously, it's unavoidable when it comes to things like that. There are people that are going to go out of their way to say nasty shit, and I'm also fine with that. I don't think you should. I wouldn't do that. But I also think that's just the reality of life. That people should act a certain way, but I don't think that you should force anyone to act any type of way, because frankly, I want to know that person's going to outwardly say nasty shit. I want to know who they are. I don't want them to hide. I don't want them to be able to hide. No, fucking say it. Let's.
Amen. So I agree. Shout them out. Out all of them. Come out the closet, baby. Come out the closet.
Oh, it's safe over here.
I can't tell you how many times I've been, like, the question starts with, I don't want to be offensive, but, or no disrespect, but I really want to know. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, what was the question that, when me and Cece were visiting her family up north.
About your hair.
She was like, I have a very, like, I've always wanted to ask.
Was she old?
Yeah, they always are.
Yeah, that's always
I want to ask. And,
old white folk.
Yeah, exactly. But the way she was, like, building up this question, I thought it was going to be about, like, police brutality. I thought it was going to be
light
about
stuff.
Like, no, I thought it was, she was like, I've always wanted to talk to a black person about this, but I don't know how to ask this, right? So she was trying to be very PC about it, and I was like, girl, just say it, right? I'm thinking I was gonna like break down a lot of racial barriers. She asked me, how do I wash my motherfucking hair?
With soap?
And water. Don't forget the water.
Oh, so you guys use water.
Yes. And you should have seen my face. I was just like, you could tell she was mortified. But it was sad that was a topic that she's been...
That was the burning question
for
she had
years.
for black people?
Years.
I mean, I respect it.
I was like, you can Google this shit, right? Like, it's Google.
You know how Google works.
It's like, and so I do agree with you that if people weren't so tippy-toey on subjects that are, quite frankly, silly as hell.
Yeah. In a lot of cases,
more
it's
knowledge
silly.
would be flowing.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to hurt your feelings. So it's like, well, yeah, of course I'm not trying to. You should know that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings.
Right.
You should know that that's not my intention. And if you think that's the intention I'm putting out here, then I have obviously given you the wrong idea of me.
I think there's nothing wrong with someone saying something that could be taken offensive, and then someone telling them, don't say that to me like that anymore. And now they know not to say that to that person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that because they said something that's offensive doesn't mean that their thought is any ignorant or more intelligent than the person's rebuttal. Most of the time it is. But I do feel that if we're going to say, be more open to ask questions and have these conversations, also, don't be a little bitch if someone says something to you that you don't like, you know?
And everybody has the right of association. You can choose to associate yourself with whoever you want. If that's your life, then and these little things are gonna bug you, then be around people the same way. But also don't tell me I can't say it ever.
Ever.
You know what I mean? That's the thing.
Unless
associate with whomever you want. If you don't like the way that I talk, absolutely. And that kind of absolutely. I guarantee you we're not gonna make it very far. And that breaks into the last section of this week's episode that I think is really on the, what is it? Thank you, CC baby. Cancel culture. I think a lot of that has to do, well, what do you guys think about cancel culture? Cancel culture is somebody getting canceled
because of something they
said or did.
Years ago, though.
Previously or today.
Right. Yeah, it could have been done when they were like kids, and now it surfaces up again, and it can ruin their whole career, and they get canceled.
Yeah.
Like, for example, this is kind of a one-off, but like when I was going to college, my roommates were white, and we were bored one day because I was going to a Christian university and we didn't drink and shit, and so we were like,
that sounds awful.
Yeah, it was awful, and we were like, let's do something for fun. What do you want to do?
Karate.
Let's do a photo shoot. Right? Let's do a photo shoot. So the photo shoot we were going to do was all of us dressed up like warrior princesses and like attacking each other. It was stupid. We were virgins.
No, I like the Xena photo shoot. I think that's fun.
We calling out nurgins.
Yeah, I was definitely an urgent. And so there's photos of myself like on top of this white girl with crazy war paint and a spear that I made, and it looks like I'm about to kill her.
Wow.
And I posted it on Facebook thinking it was fabulous. Mm-hmm. And my mom saw it and got so upset with me. And
Your mom got upset about it?
She said, take that shit down. Because remember, like I was always raised, for people that don't know, I was always built to be an attorney. So I went to schools that focused in law. I did internships, mock trial, moot court to be an attorney. My mom wanted me to be a district attorney and the Supreme Court justice. So, I mean, I wanted to
actually make money and be a criminal attorney for killers.
Yeah, so
that's what I would do.
So that was the whole thing. I was going to school to be an attorney, and she was like, this could pop up in your future, and what firm would want to hire you if you killed white folks? And I thought it was so stupid. I thought it was so stupid at the time, but looking back on it, it was actually pretty fucking smart, because if I did go down that route, the political route, that would destroy me. Like me being on top, and like, I'll show you guys the pictures. It's insane. I look completely crazy, eyes all bugged out. It's in the middle of the night. She's laying down like I just killed her, and I got the spear over her, and I look like a bushwoman. And so it was something that at the time I was like, oh my god, there's my mom just trying to control me again.
She was overreacting.
Right, but now it's something that left and right people are being canceled for like the silliest things.
Yeah, and it's all the time. And I mean, and there are some things where like, I think that there should be. I think that when it comes to things like that, I think that society will dictate itself. And I think that if somebody does something truly atrocious, they should absolutely be, I think that the best way to get rid of something that you don't like is to not finance it. So to give it money. But I think when it comes to little things, like where these people on the internet are always apologizing for like a poor joke, it's like, okay, it was a fucking joke. I mean, you shouldn't have to apologize for every other word you fucking say. That's nuts.
Right. Now, like,
It's
if you were like
bonkers.
roofing hundreds of women.
Yeah, if you're sexually assaulting girls, get out.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah, you got to go.
But if you said the N-word once or twice, I feel like everyone has said it at least once in their head. Like, shouldn't be canceled.
Yeah, anybody that has not said something that they absolutely regret is a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that indicative of you as an entire person? Absolutely not.
No.
I don't think it should be.
No. Do you yeah, totally. Like, do I think you should be canceled if you have a child's TV show and you're caught jerking off in movie theaters? Yeah. Sorry, Blue's Clues, Steve. You gotta go.
Pee Wee Herman too.
Pee Wee Herman too. Yeah. So yeah, that's
but
creepy.
He did make a comeback.
Yeah, he did. That's creepy. But like. Or like when you're actually hurting someone, like for Kevin Hart, for example, when he had posted on Twitter like 10, 12 years ago, if his son was gay, he would buy him a dollhouse and hit him over the head with it. Like he typed it. He didn't even physically say it out loud. He typed it.
My parents said worse things than that. I'm here.
And it was so sad that he was going to be like the first black person, I think, besides Richard Pryor, to host the Oscars. And no offense, the gays were like, absolutely not. You either have to apologize or you're going to have to stop doing it. And I respect that he was like, I'm not apologizing for something I said 10, 12 years ago.
I mean,
kiss my ass.
The reality
it was a joke.
Yeah, kiss my ass.
Over 12 years, so in a year somebody can change. So, I mean, was that in poor taste? Sure, probably. Was it kind of funny? Yeah. I mean, a little bit. Did he actually do it? Or did he joke around about it?
Right.
Have we all joked around about doing things?
He didn't even have a kid at that time. I don't think he even had a son at that time.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think his son was born after that. But it's like, who determines, is it like if more than 3 people are offended, or more than 30 people, or more than 300 people?
Well, usually the way it works is whoever's the loudest. Whoever's yelling the loudest. Doesn't matter if there's 2 or 3 of them. Whoever's screaming their head off that this is injustice. It's like, okay. I don't know what fucking fantasy land you live in, but the reality is somebody's going to have a leg up on you for all of history until the day that you die in different things, and you're going to have a leg up on them on different things.
Like James Franco. Like, nobody wants to work with James Franco now.
He's a weirdo.
He's a great thespian.
Yeah, and they're all
Let
weird.
that man act. Everybody likes young women.
How young was she?
He was fucking around with, like, he would hit, like, sliding girls' DMs that were, like, 16, 17.
Okay, I mean, that's a little much.
Depending on what state. Isn't it in Alabama when you get married at, like, 14?
Like parental consent.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you could wait 2 years. Honestly,
but he didn't
just
actually,
hold
like,
horses.
he didn't actually, well, as far as I know, I mean, he probably did, but, like, no woman has came out and said that he, like, slept with me when I was 16. It's
Right.
like, James Franco, he never even got that far, because first of all, half the girls thought he was, like, catfishing them. And then the other half of the girls...
There's a lot of weird things about that story.
It is. But, like, Seth Rogen won't work with him anymore.
Oh, really?
He has no plans on working with him because of those allegations. And that's the thing, they're allegations. But it's like, how do you prove he say, she say? Like, if you're an idiot...
Screenshots?
That's true. If you're an idiot and you post it on the internet, like I was many years ago, then yeah, I mean there could be some repercussion. But if I'm over here saying like Ty touched my wee wee 12 years ago and now I'm upset about it, go fucking cry a river. Like,
Well, at least 12 years ago, we was still the same age.
What about like the Brett Kavanaugh situation when he was getting sworn in, and they were pulling up all that stuff from like his college days. Like,
there was still no actual proof that he raped that woman. He was a jock and he was a frat boy, 100%. But there's no.
So you think it matters more about the proof?
100%. You're gonna ruin someone's whole career.
Yeah, 100%. But no, what I'm asking is because it seems like the time frame is what is mattering more, but it's more about like whether it did or did not happen.
I think both are equally.
I think it's a mixture of both. I think that, like, in that situation, it's different because I don't think there were a lot of allegations. It wasn't just Christine
The one
Ford or whatever her name was. Sorry if I messed that up. I think that there wasn't a lot of substance behind that, and it is legitimately a claim that will ruin people. You know,
right.
And I don't think that women shouldn't be able to speak out, or even men. Like that's super prominent in the gay community. That happens all the fucking time.
What was that one guy's name that was touching like 18-year-old boys? They canceled his shit real quick. He was a great actor. Kevin Spacey.
Oh yeah, he didn't no good diddling kids.
And then he kind of fucked himself too, because then he do like a PSA after the fact or whatever.
I mean, but that's like super prominent in the gay community, whether people like care to admit it or not. Like, it's just not viewed this under the same lens. Like, if something like that were to happen, you just had a bad night. You know what I mean? Any gay person that's legitimately listening is like, yeah, there's definitely been a time where like, okay.
I mean, it's huge.
Things got a little bit wild.
It is huge in the gay community and also in the entertainment industry. I think that's where we're seeing it more prevalent. But now it's coming up more in like the schools, like the gymnastics doctor and the school doctor.
That one was wild because honestly,
that I think both are important, Cece. When you were asking like the time frame, I think if someone hurt you, there's no amount of time that goes by until you feel better. Like if someone physically, emotionally, I'm not going to say spiritually, that's a little weird, but like sexually abused you or took advantage of you.
The devil.
If it takes you 5 years, 10 years, 20 years to be strong enough to speak up on it, do it. Don't ever, don't do that. But I also think that if you're going to do that, you must understand that there needs to be proof.
Yeah.
And what sucks is most of the time
That's why it's important to do it when it happens, even though a lot of people shy away from that, and in genuinely understandably. I understand the idea behind like being like, I can't do this right now, but like that's at that time with especially like when it comes to rape kits, that's once you take a shower, that's it. There's nothing. You don't have any proof. So maybe even if it's not today, and maybe if you're not even going to report it right then, you should still go in and get it done because you'll have that evidence forever.
Right.
You can come back to that. You can do that. And then obviously that's like not a fun situation.
Right.
And what we're seeing too, as soon as you do it, the trolls of other people who are also abused that come out too.
Yeah.
So,
with in a lot of genuine cases.
Nobody just does it once and they're like, all right, my fetish.
Yeah, nobody's like, oh, I got that one.
Right. Fetish
satisfied.
Is good, I'm over it. Got that out of my system. No. That's a repeating behavior. So if anything, you should want to do it to protect others. But again, you know, that's a whole like different side of the spectrum where I feel like what you're talking about, Ty, is that majority of cancel culture is because it's not PC what you did.
Yeah. Or you said something
did blackface
off the cuff. Yeah, you did blackface. I mean, you know, we all know the history of it. I don't think anybody's using that same intention. I don't think anybody's blackfacing because, you know, black people weren't allowed on TV anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not trying to fill that role. Do I think it's in poor taste? Yeah, most of the time.
Because like I told both of you, I want to have a Yaya themed birthday party, but I'm so afraid of people coming in blackface. I'm like mortified that someone will come into the party with black makeup on, and then I have to like kick them out.
I don't think anybody we would know.
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Oh, just wanted a bronze.
Or someone like wears like a really matted, dreaded wig or some shit. Like, you know, like I can just
I guess I'll return it.
I can just see it going really left. So, I mean, just use your brain.
But it also just depends on who does it. Because if I walked in like dreadlocks, you don't think that'd be funny?
You have already done that. You have came to work when we worked together, dressed up like me, and it was
but I didn't
the
do
most
black.
maddest wig I've ever seen in my entire life.
I thought it was your wig. It was your old wig.
It was probably.
Your big red one, wasn't it?
No, he did it. Him and Bruce did it another time. Yeah.
And Bruce is BB. That was a whole different story. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of that. I wasn't akin to it. I wasn't joining with it.
At work.
I was not.
Showed up at work like that. So, I mean, I think it's just using your common sense. I think it just comes down to being aware of the consequences.
I think even in those situations, it all comes back to intention.
Right.
I think that if your intention wasn't to do that, then that should be considered. Whether it's right or wrong, and in most cases, it's probably not right.
Who's the one to say that, you know?
Yeah, but that's the thing, is you can't tell somebody's intention. You can't, and that's what a lot of it is you're deciding what they were intending on doing with that. And you can't tell me what I intended to do when I did something.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be right.
And you can't lose your power either by giving someone the satisfaction of them saying something stupid like, oh, you have red hair, and then you're like, oh my god, I have red hair, that's so mean. Like, my hair is amber! Like, that's so stupid. That is so stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about this for hours and hours. Truly. I think there's a lot to unpack there, but this ain't our TED Talk. NPR ain't paid us.
Not yet.
Not yet. We wait for the BBC to sponsor.
We wait. Viceland, I'll take anything. I'll take Pornhub right now.
Honestly,
we are
frankly.
looking for sponsors. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, anybody. You got a little ice cream shop down the street. You have to spread the word.
Yeah. Millie's Ice Cream.
Yeah, you gotta.
You want you a cone for $2.50?
Yeah, right.